Well, Justin, a bit of a chaotic lead up to this one, but was there ever a doubt in your mind that you were fighting on this card based on the opponent?
I think there was a small amount of time that I was a little bit doubtful that we would figure something out. But in my mind, I was still fighting. I had to stay in that mindset that I was still going to war. March 8th. I really relied on my coach and my manager to figure it out. I told them, take the lead and don't even involve me in the conversation.
Obviously, fighting a guy on short notice and switching up your camp is a risk. You're coming off the back of the loss to Max. It's even a bigger risk for you, right? You want to hit the ground running. Did any part of that play into your mind about, maybe it would be better if I just stuck to the original opponent, we rebook it rather than just force this one through?
No, I think if I started to worry about the risks, then I would just retire. This is a very risky sport, and I love the intensity that it brings, and I've been yearning to get back in there and feel that.
Yeah, there's been some comments you made recently that have caught a lot of attention about maybe sort of going back, not completely the whole way, but a little bit back towards the World Series of fighting style you used to have.
Yeah, I just think the aggressive mentality. I think I just watched the Max fight today for the first time, and I think I fought really well. It's just he was so great that fought really well that night, and but. Even if I go back to that guy, I'm still a much more refined athlete, in my skills. And I think with that aggressive style and, my skills being, much more refined and much more accurate, that's a dangerous combination.
What makes you rewatch it today?
I just figured it was about time.
Nice. Respect. Have you rewatched the first fight with Fiziev yet?
Yeah, I watched it the day that we decided we were going to fight him.
What were your takeaways from that, and what differences do you think you may have to make it a bit of an easier job out for you that night?
Yeah, I think I wasn't looking at the fight for information. I was just more putting myself in that mindset and that arena. And I think if I try to rely on things from that fight, then if things go 100%, 180 the other way, it would be detrimental. I think my skills are ready. I think my preparation was fantastic. My cardio is definitely. I'm ready to push the pace, and I think I still have to be careful with this guy. He's so powerful. He's world-class athlete, world-class Muay Thai striker. He throws a lot of kicks, and I think I found success punching off of his kicks, and I think that will be something that I can use for the next fight.
So I wanted to go back to rewatching the Max one today. Obviously, the ending the way that it was, I can imagine some guys would think on their fight week, I don't want to see that and put that in my mind. What is it about you that makes you think?
Well, to be fair, I did stop it with 10 seconds left.
Okay.
I've seen that part plenty of times.
All right, and then what does a win here do for you? Obviously, I know you've taken this fight, you've done the UFC a favor by staying on the card. Can we get a title fight based off this?
I mean, as an athlete competing here, I have to think that. I hope that, but I have no idea. I have to go in there. I have to win. That's first and foremost. And I'm always exciting, the most consistent guy that's ever stepped in there. So I think the way that I win and how my fights usually go, then I'll definitely be a consideration for them.
Best of luck.
You've entered fights. Rematches coming off where you won the first one, the Luis Palomino, you won both of them. You rematched Dustin, you were trying to erase that first fight. Now you're doing this again with Fiziev. You want to prove that you were a better man the whole time. So is there a different approach to a rematch coming off a win the first time and a loss the first time?
I guess there probably would be if it was like the immediate next fight. But going through what I just went through, then I'm very reinvigorated when it comes to, and I understand that this sport is so dangerous. Watching that fight, there's so many shots that were so close to putting him out, or are really putting some damage on him. So I just have to trust in what we're doing, what my coach has instilled into me over the last 14 years, and just go from there.
And Fiziev was in here, and I asked him this question because when Dan, before he got hurt, he's saying, it's almost a guarantee that me and Justin are going to go to the hospital after this fight just because of our fighting styles. Fiziev goes, God, I really do not want to go to the hospital again in Las Vegas, but he goes, the way me and Justin fight, we'll probably go to the hospital. So I'm curious if you have that same mentality, or you just hoping, you go in there, smoke this guy, and you don't have to go to the hospital.
I mean, ideally, any fight, you get a knockout in the first 10 seconds. That would be ideal, but I don't plan on going to the hospital. I'm just hoping that I'm alive and I can walk, so I can golf with my dad and brother the next day. But I mean, I'm here to go to war. Whatever that entails, then so be it.
unrelated to your fight, but over the last couple of years, when we have these media days, there's been a handful of fighters that use your name as a descriptive term in terms of how they fight or how they want to fight. So they'll be like, "Oh, I'm the heavyweight Justin Gaethje. I'm the flyweight Justin Gaethje." I'm curious, do you hear those when people say that, and do you take that as a compliment of when fighters use Justin Gaethje as like a descriptive term of how they want to fight?
Yeah, I mean, I think no matter what field we're in, having the respect of your peers is something that does feel good, and I'm proud of that. I wish they wouldn't do that. There's a constant method to the madness when I'm in there. I've trained my body, my soul to do what I do for many, many years, and I think obviously I give max effort, and I know that they're expecting themselves to give max effort. And yeah, not just my peers that recognize my effort and consistency, but the company, the commentators. Yeah, so that's something I'm proud of.
And just last one for me. I watched, you did like a fan Q&A on your YouTube channel where you were answering questions, and a lot of them were around the phrase, like, how do I get over being scared of fighting or getting into MMA or just getting punched in general? And the first few seemed to catch you off guard, like you had never thought about that before, but then after a while you started to kind of give advice. So I'm curious, do fans ask you that quite often? Like, how do you do what you do, or how do you get over being scared? Because it seems like some version of that question came up a lot. Yeah,
I think it's always going to be tough to answer for me because it's just so normal for me. It's the way that I've approached many things. I try to, there's so many, there's so little things that we can control. And my thoughts and emotions, how I feel, how things make me feel, how people make me feel, how circumstances make me feel or act is what I know I can control. As far as competing, I've loved to compete since I'm very competitive. And this is the most intense and exciting sport in the world. So I'm so happy to be here and be a part of this organization, and it's been a fun ride. I can't believe how fast it's gone. This will be my 38th trip into a ring, octagon, cage, whatever you want to call it, but every single one of them is special.
Justin, recently, the past week, footage has come back of immediately after the Max knockout, and you even tweeted about it and said it's a great reminder of what's at stake.
Yeah.
This might be silly, but do you think fans should see stuff like that just to see how dangerous the sport is?
Oh, I don't know. I'm glad I saw it. For what I saw, I was trying to get up and fight. It's just what I do. I choose fight instead of flight every single time, and that's what I expect from myself, to try and get up.
And I just wanted your thoughts on Ilia Topuria vacating the featherweight title and coming up to lightweight. Do you think he's built for lightweight?
Yeah, I think he's a fighter, especially with the confidence that he has right now with those wins over Max and Volkanovski. I think, confidence is the biggest factor when you step in there. You have to believe, in yourself first and foremost. And so, yeah, I think just made the most exciting weight class in this sport a little bit more exciting.
Do you obviously, if you go out there and finish Fiziev, there's a good chance that you get the title shot, but do you believe Ilia should get an automatic title shot against Islam?
I don't know. Haven't thought about it.
Awesome.
It doesn't matter. Again, that's one of the things I can't control, so I'm not going to put a lot of thought and energy into that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Justin right here. Justin, when Dan pulled out, there were a lot of fans that I'd say panic a little bit, like, oh man, we're not going to see Justin Gaethje next Saturday, et cetera, et cetera. This many years in the game, what does it mean to you that you still have that kind of love from the fan base, that they have that kind of reaction about not getting to see you compete?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a fan of this sport since 2002 and really since 92. My dad would put it on the TV, and I fell in love with it then. So I think it's, again, respect from your peers, respect from the people that pay to watch me fight. They're spending their hard-earned money to watch me, and I think, again, I'm the most consistent guy that's ever stepped in there. And I've been to so many UFC fights, live, because I'm such a big fan. And, I think 10, 15% of the time does everybody get a certain rush of emotions, because of an instance. And I think, people know that it's maybe 50% with me. So that's what people are there for. They're all there to turn into animals in the blink of an eye.
You've been very public about your love of golf. If you were going to do your dream celebrity golf tournament, what other celebrities or pros would you want to be a part of it?
Whew, I mean, all of them. I mean, the Raiders team, you know, some of the Nuggets guys. Definitely have DC out there. Hopefully not on my team. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's so many world-class athletes I would love to have in there. I can't name any specifically right now.
Thank you.
Justin, over here to your right. You said on your social media a couple of days ago, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And I think that kind of sums up for a lot of people and why they love you and what you represent every time you set foot in the cage. I know you mentioned that there's not too many fights for you left, but was this what you envisioned when you first picked up the gloves, for people to know you and respect you for this fan-friendly, all-out style and to be a staple of the always entertaining lightweight division?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite parts, but it's, you know, when I started this journey, it's been and has been and was one fight at a time. You know, I never thought I would be here. I never thought people would want to ask me questions. I never thought I'd be able to touch people from across the world that don't speak the same language, but, you know, can really resonate with me. So that's special for me. I mean, I think, you know, human services is what I went to college for. I was going to do some type of social work. I'm not exactly what, but a lot of being in that profession is inspiring people to be better and do better. And so, again, the live by the sword, die by the sword, that's been my mindset, you know, in everything, in all walks of life, not just competing, but in treating people, you know, how they should be treated and respecting people. I think if you want to change the world, you have to cause ripples in your immediate circle. You know, we all try to reach and do too much, and don't focus on our immediate circle. I think, you know, you're a good neighbor, and I just, you know, want to. It's crazy that through violence I can inspire people and touch people, but it's a sport.
Yeah, and I know undisputed status is something that's always a goal for everybody, but are there any other things that you want to check off your list as a mixed martial artist?
No, I mean, I've already set the record for bonuses. I had 9 in my first 7 fights. I think that'll never be touched. I'm pretty proud of that one. As far as the rest would be to try to show people, you know, I think if I was if I win this fight and beat Makhachev, I think that would just be, you know, the icing on the cake for the legacy that I'm trying to create here. And I think that would be such an amazing story. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
For sure. And last one for me. Was it hard to save that time to watch back the Max fight all the way until now?
No, I mean, I'm actually glad. I thought I fought like shit, and turns out I didn't, you know. I fought pretty damn good. It's just so crazy. It's a game of less than inches, less than seconds. I mean, there's so many instances in that fight where could have gone either way. You know, he was so fast, very fast. I think my 4th round was my best round. That's when I fought a more aggressive style, and that's when I dropped him, and I think I won that round, you know, clearly. First round was crazy close. I think, you know, with my leg kicks, I was winning until, you know, the last 1 second. It's crazy. He smoked me last 1 second of the first round, last 1 second of the last round. It's a crazy sport.
Right here, Justin. The last 2 main events of the year ended in controversy with some eye pokes. In your last fight with Rafael, you did poke him in the 2nd round. He said that that kind of factored into his performance for the rest of the fight. He wasn't able to see. That's not really my question. I guess, how big of a problem do you think the eye poking is in this sport? And obviously, it's not up to the UFC, it's up to the commissions, but do you have a solution? Do you think a point should be taken regardless of intent?
No. I don't know. It's a tough one. You know, I got poked in the eye versus Max twice. I'll never tell you that I lost that fight because of that. I just think that's not the mindset that you can have. I think if we were skilled enough to poke someone in the eye, we'd be skilled enough to punch him in the chin. You know, it's just a crazy circumstance that happens. You know, we're constantly judging distance. Again, it's less than seconds, less than inches. It's completely intuitive. And so naturally, to defend yourself, you know, try to get your hands up. And that's mostly what's happening, is just sometimes it goes in their eye socket.
The UFC introduced some gloves that were supposed to maybe reduce the eye pokes. They went back to the old gloves. I'm not sure how often you got to train in them. Did you feel like those were maybe better to prevent eye pokes, or were you not a fan of them as well?
Yeah, I don't even know. I fought in them once, never trained in them. I've never trained in 4-ounce gloves. You know, we have 7-ounce Onyx gloves that I train in, sparring, hit pads in. But I think there's an answer. I just, you would have to put it on paper and have a lot of smart people sit around the table and, run through the pros and cons of different things. I don't think it was the eye pokes why they changed it. I think maybe enough people weren't getting knocked out or something, because I don't know what the case was. I'm not sure I'm not sure what made the decision to go back. I don't think either one of them prevent. We fight in open finger gloves. Like, there's no preventing eye pokes in here. At the end of the day, I think it's blatant fouls. Like hitting people, a lot of the Michael Chandler shit. Pretty much everything he does, immediate point taken away. Smoking people in the back of the head. There's things that you can do on purpose, and then there's eye pokes. Like I said, it's almost impossible to purposely poke someone in the eye. That's a very small target, and we're trying to hit each other in the head, and a lot of the times that's hard to do. So,
thank you. Good luck.
Hello, sir. Rafa was here, and he said that yesterday you met in Apex, and he thanked you because he doesn't understand why did you take this fight. So, first of all, what was your conversation about, and did you have any doubts to fight him?
I love fighting. I got my ass knocked out last fight, and I'm dying to get back in there and get that back. At the end of the day, all these guys are very, very dangerous. And we went through our options. I, wanted Sarukian or Oliveira, but if I was them, I would never take the fight. And I do not blame them for that. Moicano piped up and then did not take the fight. That was my best option. And then it was just not fight. And I've been working so hard that that really wasn't an option for me. He just said thank you. I'm grateful for him too. He was halfway across, or probably more than halfway across the world, however big the world is. But and he took the fight. He came over here. So I applaud him for that. And I love to perform, and I'm ready to perform. So I wasn't, I was trying to make it happen.
Speaking about your last fight, I asked Rafa if your fight at Saturday night will go to the final seconds. Will he point his finger to the center of octagon and try to fight with you like Max did? If there will be such a situation, would you accept this challenge from him?
If you've ever seen me fight, you'll know I will accept that challenge every single time. When he pointed to the ground, I said yes and ran to the middle. So absolutely.
And the last one from me, Rafa says that he was quite surprised because in betting companies he's going as a favorite.
It's not something I can control. It's crazy. I'm 6-3 as an underdog, so I love being the underdog.
He said the same.
It suits me better. I love when people count me out. Being a competitor, every single one of us that get to this level is probably a petty motherfucker in a way, because you don't come here, you don't push through the things that we push through, if you don't take things personal. Everything's personal. It sucks for the commentators because they kind of have to pick a side, but no matter, it's either you're on my team or I'm trying to kill you. And not literally, but, I'm trying to beat you. Whether that's your family, you're not on my team, then I don't care about you. In these instances and in these moments.
Thank you.
Justin in the back, way back here. You were quoted this week as saying that you felt like you've been fighting too safe. And that's a word that most people would not attach to your name and your fighting style. So it speaks a little bit to your mindset as a fighter and a competitor. What do you do to get your mind ready, and how's that evolved for you over the course of your career?
My mind is always ready to do what I love. I love going, Tuesday and Friday are sparring days, favorite days of the week. The intensity that this brings. But I don't have to do anything. I have to understand that the danger is there. I think once you understand the danger is there and it's real, then I think my body specifically goes to a very special place. I don't get to retain any information from these fights because it's completely intuitive and instinctive, and I've trained my body and my mind to go and do what I need to do in those situations.